I want to tell a little story. There was once a young girl who was trapped in a fire in a house. Her parents had gone out and left her there. Well, she was a teenager, so they thought it was safe enough. The thing is, the fire was engulfing the whole house, and people were in the street, and there was nothing that anyone could do. But one man who was passing by saw what was happening. He grabbed a hose pipe from one of the neighbouring gardens, wet down a blanket that had been spread out in the garden for a picnic, and ran into the house with the wet blanket. The flames were burning him as he ran in. He ran up the stairs and he was getting very badly burnt. But he wrapped the wet blanket around the girl and carried her down the stairs, again being very severely burnt. When they got outside, the ambulance had arrived and they were given oxygen and brought to the hospital, and the man spent some time in hospital. Unfortunately, he was so severely burnt there was no way of repairing the damage that was done to him. He survived, but he was severely disfigured. Well, after some time, a couple of years later, the girl was walking down the street and she saw this man. He was living in the street, and there were some children throwing things at him and making fun of him because of his disfigured face and hands. She became very angry. She ran over and chased them away, and the man, who didn't even recognize her, asked her if maybe she could help with a bit of food or something because he hadn't eaten. Of course, she said, and she invited him to a cafeteria and she got him some food, and she told him who she was, and she invited him to go back to the house to talk to her parents, and he went back with her, and they set him up in a room for a bit of time until he could get back onto his feet. She couldn't thank him enough for what he had done. She hugged him and told him, you know, I owe my life to you. He didn't see it like that. But he was very grateful for the help. And eventually he got back onto his feet. But the reason I told you this story is because of this. It's like that with Christ. You see, Christ has already paid for our sins. It's already done. And when that girl went to help that man, she didn't help him because by helping him she gets saved from the fire. No, she was already saved from the fire. He had already done what had to be done. It was out of gratitude and love for the man who had saved her that she did what she did. And the same goes for us. Christ has paid for our sins. Christ has saved us. And it's not so that we might earn salvation or earn a way into heaven, that we obey him or that we love him, but it's out of appreciation and love for the one who has given his life and has saved us. Now, resting in that salvation, resting in that, the Lord will help us to change. We can't be good people out of ourselves. If we could have, Christ wouldn't have had to come. We could have just been good people. But the Lord can help us to change. All we have to do is rest in that grace. And the things that need to change, because we love him, we want to change, we may ask him, help us with this, and he will. But you have to trust in the Lord. Just trust him. Let him do the changes. Let him make the changes in your life. Otherwise you're just going to end up acting it out. Be blessed.